Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity-hopping, Easter's on its way. Bringing every girl and boy baskets full of Easter joy, things to make your Easter bright and gay. He's got jelly beans for Tommy, colored eggs for Sister Sue. There's an orchid for your mommy and an Easter bonnet too. Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity-hoppity, happy Easter day. Wake up on Easter morning and you know that he was there. When you find those chocolate bunnies that he's hiding everywhere. Oh, here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity-hoppity, happy Easter day. Hippity-hoppity, happy Easter day.
And hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. How the heck are you doing? I am Diana Clarion, the Lavender Lady, and this is Coffee with Lavender. I hope you liked the opening. I thought I'd do something a little strange for you guys this time around, since I had not realized that today was going to be Easter Sunday. I mean, this is as much as I think about these things. So it was a nice surprise to me when my guest was able to show up, because I thought that he might have a little stuff going on for the holiday. But with me today is the one, the only, the brilliant, the beautiful Maddie from Objectively Subjective. How are you?
I'm here. And I am full of reverence on this, the day of the resurrection of the bunnies and the eggs and all of the things.
Yeah, especially the buns, right? I mean,
exactly
how's snarky with that? Hey, look at that!
And I'm pretty sure, like I think the Pope did some tricks today. I don't.
We were talking before we started. You said, did you catch that? What he said? Because I didn't.
I didn't catch the Pope's. The reason I mentioned it before was, strangely enough, even though we were evangelical Christians growing up, my grandfather always made us watch the Pope's Easter address. And I guess it was because we were we were listening for signs that the end times were coming. Because we all know that the Catholics, according to the evangelicals, are the whore of Babylon, as mentioned in Revelation.
Yeah.
And
the city of Seven Hills and that whole bit.
Yes, you listen for the coded language. So I still really don't know why we watched it. I just know we did. And it was always horrifically boring and long, and I always wondered if the Pope was going to die halfway through the speech.
Well, especially that guy a few popes ago, John Paul II. What the heck was his name? Wotia. Because my word, they had him working way too long. Mm-hmm. But I'm just curious, Maddie. This being Easter, did you manage to slip the familial bonds, or you're going to be doing any of the festivities later, or how does that work?
My family's never been huge on Easter. My grandmother used to have an Easter hunt Easter egg hunt. But other than that, we've never really been big on like family celebrations on Easter.
Okay. Okay, because
Uh,
it was a really big thing for me. So I always wonder how other families, what they do and that sort of thing.
well, the other side of the family was huge on Easter, and growing up, we would always go to their house and have a big Easter dinner.
Yeah.
But other my grandmother on that side passed away a couple years ago, and we haven't really done anything for Easter for quite a while.
I gotcha. Now I'm curious. I just thought of this again because I was thinking yesterday, just when I was doing some stuff about all the stuff that I used to do during Easter, especially with babka. And I'm wondering if you had any of the stuff going on, like the blessing of the food on Holy Saturday, or
Uh, no, it's considering I don't know what that is. Then no.
okay, because this was a whole big setup. Well, I'll start in the middle and work my way to the ends. On Holy Saturday, you would bring some of the food that you were going to serve at the Easter feast on Sunday in a basket to the church. Saturday afternoon, that sort of thing. The priest would walk up and down with his little thing going, that sort of thing, and your food was then blessed, and it was going to do wonderful things for you when you ate it the next day. Prior to that, on Friday, you had the reverence of the wounds, or whatever they called it. They laid a crucifix with the dead guy at the communion rail, and everybody would form a line, and they would kiss the wounds. It's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, no, like being raised evangelical, we did usually Easter Sunday was communion at church.
Okay.
We would like other than that, like Good Friday was sometimes late night service. But there isn't really as much traditions in terms of evangelical Christianity around Easter, other than you hear the same sermon every single year.
Oh, which one?
It's the portion of the Bible where Christ returns and well where he's resurrected, and then it ends with him returning at the end of days and bringing the Easter bunny with him.
Oh man, I'm trying to remember because Mark is the one that was incomplete for the longest time, and then they added something to it.
Yeah, but it's usually Mark. Mark is so funny because the original ends with these women seeing Jesus running away, and it says they told no one.
Yeah. It's like,
and
go figure.
If they told no one, how is this book here?
Yes.
How did this happen?
Oh my! And there's the other thing I wondered about. Do you have any favorite memories from your time as a pastor? About this season. I mean, did you go through any special machinations or anything like that?
Easter was the worst Sunday of the month of the year. The worst Sunday of the year because it was the largest Sunday. Everybody with the church was always packed on Easter Sunday, and it was always packed with all kinds of people that didn't want to be there.
Okay.
And they were just there because they were cultural Christians, and they showed up once or twice a year, and they'd all just be dull and bored out of their minds. And you'd try to get through it, and you would, and nothing spectacular ever happened on an Easter Sunday, except like they would get candy at the end of the service. Like there would be candy bags. Yeah.
So that's a good reason to come.
Well, it was always candy, but there was always like a piece of almost rotten fruit in it as well. Like an orange or an apple that had gone bad like a week ago, and people bought them because they were super cheap.
Okay. Which kind of reminds me, I'm waiting for tomorrow if I can get up in time. Get all that cheap chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Now, wait a minute.
That's the best part about holidays is the chocolate going on sale.
Yeah, Snarky said that Sylvia was up to something. I didn't see what she was up to because I don't have the. I have the watch page up, so I don't have the immediate camera here. You are the one. I love this. I absolutely love this because you're the one that started that whole thing when you introduced me to the world of can we see your pussy? You know?
Yeah. I have a video coming up on my channel, which is a segment from one of my Friday shows that originally I titled it "How Smart Is Your Pussy?"
Okay.
But then I was like, that's a little bit more clickbaity. And I was like, "How smart is your kitty?" That works.
I am really, really thankful to you for the introduction to the world, and you and Snarky were the first, among the first, just to open arms and everything. And I'm this person, whatever, looking around, saying, "Do I really belong here?" And it was just great to be welcomed in and just part of the group. And I want to thank you again for that because it. Look where it got me. Shut up, everybody.
You.
And you've introduced me to some really great people. One of them's over in the audience. That person I met when we worked together on one of your shows. What was it? The Transoceanic Atheist Alliance or something like that.
Transatlantic Atheist Alliance. Yeah.
Yeah. There were a couple interesting people I met there.
Yes.
And no, I'm not. Well, I'm already gushing over. So okay, shut up, Clarion.
That's probably like one of the things that's so funny is people who have been absolutely shocked that I am a leftist when like my channel was always politically left. Like I had the Transatlantic Atheist Alliance, and we were always talking about social issues involving LGBTQ and trans groups, and then many of my other chats were on politics and progressive ideas. It's just been kind of funny, the people that's like, wait, you are a leftist?
Yeah, I mean, go figure. And that's an interesting thing because now that you're reminding me, you were doing a lot of the awareness and the left stuff and everything else, a year ago. So your change in format or whatever you want to call it really isn't much of a change, is it? Or is it?
No, it's not a big change. The only thing is we still talk about religion and atheism and all of those types of things. I have a new series coming out that's going to talk about that a lot. But yeah, it's just the focus has switched from primarily atheist to primarily politics and social issues. But the way I relate them hasn't changed at all, really.
Yeah, and you're still the same old person as far as that goes, and that's what I love about you dearly. But I do notice there are a few things that have popped up in the programming that were a little different to what was there because they relate to you personally.
Yeah,
and I'm just wondering. I mean, you've probably said it more than once on air, but I'm gonna do it again, just for that one or two people that have not seen you yet. How was that for you? For just coming out as non-standard. Let's start with that.
Coming out as non-binary, gender fluid was pretty big. It actually marked some of the first really vitriolic hatred I got online, but I've never looked at a typically masculine figure and thought, well, that's what I associate with, or a typically feminine figure and thought, well, that's what I associate with. I've always been somewhere in the middle between the lines, back and forth, and finding the terms was eye-opening for me and really helped out. So, I mean, I'm much happier being out as non-binary gender fluid than I was in the past.
And I'm still working on understanding how that works because, okay, I come from a time when the thinking was a bit more binary than it is now, and I do see myself more on the binary than anything else. But for those like you, who are the non-binary, how does that work?
Okay, so the best way that I can relate it is think of a dimmer switch on the wall. Only instead of lighter or darker, on one side you have masculine, on the other side you have feminine, and that dimmer switch moves back and forth um, from more masculine to more feminine. And some days it's like someone ripped the dimmer switch off the wall and threw it into the other room.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
So it's really how when you think of yourself, when you close your eyes and think, who is Maddie?
Mm-hmm.
That can change depending on where the dimmer switch is.
Okay.
So there may be days I wake up and Maddie is a female or feminine.
Okay,
and
fine.
then I wake up and Maddie is masculine, or I wake up and Maddie is just Maddie. There's no way to explain it. It's a back and forth type thing. I do present more masculine, which is presentation and identity are separate things.
Right,
Expressing
right.
an identity. So I understand that it's hard for some people to understand the non-binary genders.
Yeah, I've heard some people complain almost to the point where they're thinking that you're wanting to carry two driver's licenses, one that says boy and the other that says girl. And
yeah, I can't think of anyone that is non-binary that would expect that. Mainly non-binary people just want respect. We want to be able to live our lives and express the way that we feel like expressing, and just be who we are. There are some non-binary people that express very feminine for the most part, and then some days they may express very masculine. There are agender people who don't associate with any of the genders.
I remember you're speaking with one of those people not too long ago.
Yeah, Perry.
Yes, I was trying to remember the name, and unfortunately, I wasn't dredging it up. And
Perry is agender, and so it's, if you thought of the gender spectrum, agender would be a point somewhere outside the spectrum. It's a harder one to understand, but the thing is, most non-binary people, we don't need people to understand us. We just want people to respect us.
yeah, and I'm all for that as far as that goes, and as far as the understanding goes. I mean, if you folks don't mind, I'll ask questions here and there just to learn something
Yeah.
new. But
Well, and that's the thing. If the question is asked in a respectful manner, most people are going to answer in a respectful manner. If the question is something along the lines of, well, I don't believe non-binary is a thing, so what is it?
yeah,
Well, you've just assumed the answer to this already, so why would I answer your not respectful question?
yeah, and I guess you've been running into a little bit of a problem with the non-respect. I don't know if you want to say
With
anything
some
about
people,
that.
yeah. You get people that will refuse to use pronouns, because I do now use they them pronouns.
I'm still getting used to that one, but we'll come back to that.
And the thing with they them has been used as a singular since the 1300s.
Mm.
And when we hear people talking about, well, pronouns don't change, well, we used to be singular.
I did not know that one.
Yes, we was a singular used by the upper class to refer to themselves.
Oh, the royal we. Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
the
Now I
royal.
know.
And then you could also be used as a plural in the past.
Well, it still is, isn't it?
It is. People will say you all, but you can say you over there and refer to a group, which is plural. So it's interesting the anger that you get from that. There's other people that refuse to use the new name Maddie and will instead refer to me as Matt. Um, and some of them will say I'm still your friend. I just refuse to use that name. And it's
Well,
like,
you're
no,
not a very good friend.
yeah, it's really quite rude. Um,
Now I'm wondering how you chose that one, where you came up with Maddie. I'm just curious.
well, okay, so growing up, my my mother and my grandmother used to call me Matty, um, but then my kids would refer to me as Maddie, which meant Matt Daddy.
Okay, okay.
And so I've always loved the way that sounds. I never liked Matt. I always hated that name and always preferred to hear people call me Maddie.
Okay, fine.
Um, so yeah, I
Um,
enjoy it.
yeah, because what I sort of missed, I kind of skipped over. I'll come back to if you don't mind. As far as the they them goes, I'm fine with the they them. The only thing is that it breaks my brain because I learned grammar at a time when they was strictly plural. I'm talking
Yeah.
about being in grade school in the '60s and that sort of thing. And it, believe it or not, guys out there, it does kind of derail you when you're so accustomed to doing it one way and then you need to change to another way, even though you know that the reason to do it is a good one.
Oh yeah, and well, part of that happens because in the 19 like from like the 1940s to the 1980s, there was every grammar teacher was a grammar Nazi.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. I am with you.
they they did not treat language as it is as something that evolves and takes on new meanings and new usages. I can remember growing up in the 80s being told uh, ain't isn't a word,
Oh, I
and you
know
would be
that
able
one,
to
yeah.
go, well, but we use it, so it is. Like every single word in our language, at one point someone thought, you know what, that's a TV, we're
Hmm.
going to call it that from now on.
Yeah.
Um, or that is an elephant, and we're going to call this animal that has a trunk and large booming legs, we're going to call it an elephant. And over time, people accepted that word. It's not like we woke up one day and was like, okay, so this is English, and this is what it's going to be forever. Um, our language has so many more words than it did in Shakespearean times. It
Absolutely.
evolves over time. Language evolves along with us.
Yeah, if you want to know about about English, try reading Chaucer.
Yeah.
In the original Old English, that sort of thing. But that does cause my brain some problems
Well,
on an
and that's
unrelated way.
the
I'm still known to use the term transgendered because I grew up knowing what do you participial adjective is. Now I know that
yeah,
folks want that changed, and
yeah.
they've got their reasons. It's still a brain breaker.
Well, and the thing with transgendered is you can associate someone as being untransgendered, as in removed. I think that's what people have with that term.
Mm,
But with they them, like I've said, most people are not going to freak out if a mistake is made and it's it's sincerely apologized. If I were to be misgendered today and you were like, oh, I just referred to you with gendered pronouns, I'm sorry, I would take that. That would be, it would be sincere. What oftentimes happens is someone actively misgenders someone, and they do it
Yeah.
multiple times, um, and then go, "Oh, I thought they were a man," even though throughout the entire conversation, people have been correcting them.
Yeah.
Um, that's often the times that people tend to get a little upset. Um, and it happens quite a bit, uh, regardless of what type of trans person you are. Misgendered is an issue.
And I like what Kate has to say here. Transgender, transgendered. Either way, any word that starts with trans starts the theme song to the Transformers going in my head. You're very welcome, Kate. And while we're on that, I'm just curious here what your feelings might be on, oh God, if I could remember her name, the celebrity that is raising the child she thought was her son a while back as a girl. And I'm saying this only because I have seen Essence of Thought posting in Twitter, and you joining in on that one. And just wondering your thoughts, because it seems that one or two people out there didn't like the idea that she had accepted this transness when the kid was 3.
So, uh, gender expression and identity begin to show themselves at about age 4, between ages 3 and 4. And so we know that, and this is scientific, that they have said. Now, of course, 3 or 4 year olds aren't thinking about who they want to have sex with, but they do start expressing their gender and their identity and those types around that age. And
Mm-hmm.
what this mother did was simply allow their child to be a child, and 4 years later, this child still identifies as a girl. So it's not like this was forced on the child or anything along those lines. Um,
Yeah,
it's a
one would.
situation to me as a mother being a good mother and not trying to force some kind of gender norm on their child.
Yeah, it would appear to me anyway. And well, I'm weird already. We know that, but if the kid retains this identity, this expression, whatever, and keeps saying, "Yeah, I'm a girl, I'm a girl," it's kind of more likely every time that
Yeah.
okay, the kid's got it right here. Well, there's the thing, okay,
Well, I
there was
think
some,
that uh, this gets to the point of there are a lot of parents out there that treat their children as if they are designer bags.
yeah,
And so you have a child that's born, and the doctor hands them to you and says it's a girl. And so then the parent goes out and buys every frilly thing possible to put on this child to make them look as feminine as possible and to show off their child and say this is the girl. But with gender studies and understanding psychology more and more, we know that children are associating with their gender much younger, than we would have expected. Like I have a cousin who um, always associated with being a girl, didn't associate with being a boy. Now, um, had their parents tried to force things on the child, it could have caused trauma. So it's an interesting topic. I think that a lot of people oftentimes get reactionary and just automatically, oh, this parent's awful because they're bending to their child's will. Well, no, they're just letting their kid be a kid.
Yeah, and I see over in the side here, Mark Caesar's got a little bit of a question. How did you feel at the pulpit when you were aware that you were non-binary, or I'll add, were you aware at that time?
I always knew, probably as young as 3 or 4, that I didn't associate with the binary genders. But as I've explained on a chat with Luxander, I at one point went to a psychiatrist and told this psychiatrist that sometimes I feel more masculine, or at the time I used gendered pronouns. I said, sometimes I feel like a man, sometimes I feel like a woman, and sometimes I don't feel like anything at all. And
sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, and this psychiatrist automatically assumed that I was suffering from some kind of very rare multiple personality disorder.
Oh no.
Put me on a antipsychotic.
Oh no.
And made me a zombie.
Yeah, most of them do.
And so I finally got off of that medicine and was like, well, I'm never mentioning this again to anyone ever. And it wasn't until my mid 30s, that just not that long ago, that I finally was like, yeah, I'm non-binary. So being behind the pulpit, it was like anytime I felt more feminine, it was shameful, because I automatically thought I must be gay. When I would feel the more feminine, even though I wasn't sexually desirous of men.
Okay.
Anytime as a kid that I would express any type of femininity, I would automatically get bashed for being gay by peers. And
yeah, I don't get that one at all.
Experienced a lot of bullying. So you learn to suppress a lot, especially when your religion would be completely against it.
Yeah, I used to get a little bit of that in the Catholic school when I had to be there, because it wasn't over gender issues; it was over my sensitivity and the whole thing. I cried easily. That got shit for that. But this show isn't about me; it's about you. But I do like over on the side there. Kate mentions, "Damn it! I was gonna make that sometimes you feel like a nut reference." And then Purple chimes in with, sometimes you feel you have nuts, sometimes you don't.
Well, okay, and that would be something totally different, because I've never associated my genitalia with my gender.
That's interesting.
That people don't tend to like. I am a penis individual. That's basically it sounds strange, but I've never looked down and went, that's a man.
Yeah.
I've never associated that with being masculine. It's just a piece of me.
Boy, I envy you. I really do. Because
I was, and well, see, that goes into the dysphoria. Like, I have had gender dysphoria mentally, but I never had body dysphoria. So I've never looked at my body and thought, this isn't what I'm supposed to be.
Where that's exactly what has happened to me so many times that I don't want to think about it.
Oh yeah.
So here you guys, that are going to be watching this. Yeah, here you have 2 different ways of approaching it.
And there are a lot of people, even though the medical research says you can be trans without experiencing body dysphoria or gender dysphoria, there are a lot of people out there that will say, no, if you're not actively transitioning, you're not trans, which is a lot of the hate that non-binary people receive.
Yeah, and this is not a good thing, seriously. No. I mean, even when you think that you have to handle the non-binary person, or look at the non-binary person differently than a trans person, at least a classical trans person, such as I am. And they don't even get that much.
No. Oftentimes we're just, the word that every non-binary person hates hearing the most is transtrender. Which is just an absolutely offensive slur. It's saying, like, I don't know anybody that would say, you know what, for shits and giggles and to make me popular, I'm going to be trans.
Yeah, this one I don't get either, for
No, I
obvious
don't.
reasons.
Like, that's not something. You're not going to wake up the next day and just have all these friends because you've come out as trans. It's not something that gains you popularity. In fact, look at me. It definitely lost me a lot of popularity when I came out as trans, but I did it because I feel more. I'm more myself.
Yeah,
True to
and
who I am.
okay, I've lost your audio. Is it me or
It's
no?
possible.
You're
Hold on
back.
just a second.
You're back. No, you're gone again.
Sometimes I have to reset my mic.
Okay, now you're back. You're 5 by 5. That's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had that happen with Lilith a couple times too. So I was starting to wonder if it was me, but no. Okay, we're okay. Um, okay, wait a minute. Uh, Bob, Mimosa Bob is wondering, how is it trans-trending if you don't identify with the binary?
Okay. So when it comes to trans trending, what they're saying is because you're not aligning with the classical ideas of trans, which would be on the binary scale,
Mm-hmm.
that you're just doing it to do it. And yeah, it's very dumb. So, I mean, I'm not saying that there hasn't been someone out there that has said, oh, I'm going to, they might have thought they were trans at one point, and then later on figured out that they weren't, which would be strange in my mind. But trans trending is not something that occurs with a statistical probability.
Yeah. I mean, Kate has mentioned that, okay, her comment is, I actually do know someone who did that, who decided they were trans because it was trendy. Kind of fucked up her life, too, because when she stopped the hormones, her voice was way deep. Now, that person, weigh in on this if you want to as well, Maddie. That person kind of reminds me of a Walt Heyer. Or a Julie Stoop, I think her name is, who rushes into the transition full bore and then later regrets it.
Well, there's a lot of confusion because transvestite and transgender are different.
Oh boy, are they!
And so someone might be a transvestite.
Mm-hmm.
And feel more comfortable dressing or expressing as the opposite gender, but they're not transgender. And some people might have been pushed one way or another. I know that there are non-binary people out there who felt pressured to decide to go along the binary scale.
Okay.
And some have chosen to start taking hormones and then later decided that they didn't need to take hormones. And so, yeah, I mean, there's some people that happens to. But like, there's also people out there that act as if they were trans in order to try and debunk trans.
Yeah, okay.
Which is a problem that we have. There's not a huge number of them, but there's also anti-transition people who say that they transitioned and then regretted it and try to keep people from transitioning.
Yeah.
There's a big effort to try and push trans back into the mental illness type of thing.
Yes, there is. And it's boiling my pot, really, when it comes down to it. I can tell you, I don't think I'm mentally ill, and I don't think that the people out there think I'm mentally ill. Well, at least that
No,
way.
I don't think you're mentally ill. To address the question, I know it wasn't meant in a offensive way, but there isn't a trans way of dressing.
Oh, right, right.
There's dressing. Like, that's the thing with clothing. Clothing is just cloth that you put on your body. It's strange that there are gender norms when it comes to clothing, and those gender norms have changed throughout the years, just like language.
Yes, they have.
High heels used to be a manly, noble thing to wear.
Yeah.
And so dresses used to be put on boys as a child.
As a
The
matter
colors
of
have changed.
As a matter of fact, somewhere in this apartment, I have pictures of the MSB as a very young boy in a dress. This was what was done in the late 1920s, the early 1930s.
Yeah. The gender norms when it comes to clothing are just a strange societal aspect that people have attached to them. Like there's just dressing in whatever way you feel comfortable.
Yeah, and you were talking before the difference between transvestism and transsexualism, if you'll excuse the phrase. Yeah, it's a very big one for those who are not quite familiar. The transvestite identifies as the natal sex, the birth sex. So were I a transvestite, I would be very, very happy identifying as a man. It turns out that's not what happened. As much as I wish I would have been a transvestite, it didn't work out that way. So yeah, there's where you've got that big difference right there.
Well, and one of the big examples of there are people who associated as a transvestite and then realized later on that they were actually trans. ContraPoints is a big example of that. Their earlier videos, they thought they were a transvestite, and then they began to look into it and see that no, they're actually trans. And so it can work that way. But a lot of times people will hear trans and they think, oh, you like wearing women's clothes. Well, no, that's a totally separate thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, there's that old joke running around. What's the difference between a transvestite and a transsexual? The transvestite can't wait to get home to put on a bra. The transsexual can't wait to get home to take the damn thing off. And I've discovered both sides of that.
Oh, but luckily I have had support as well.
Yeah, that's a good thing. If you don't, okay, this may be a little touchy. I'm not sure. If you and she don't mind my asking, how'd Snarky handle it?
Snarky's been supportive the whole time. I one day I sat there and I looked at Snarky and I said, I'm pretty sure that I'm non-binary. And she was just like, okay.
Okay.
And what does that mean? And we started looking into it. Snarky has been completely supportive this whole time, and she couldn't be happier that I'm expressing in the way that makes me comfortable, and I identify with who I am. And so, yeah, she's been wonderful.
Okay, I didn't know if there were any, just short periods of, oh my God, because I do know a lot of people, well, I am one of them, who ran into a problem with a significant other who thought they were betrayed. My ex was, you've betrayed me. You're not the man I married. And it's, well, yeah, I guess I'm not. And I should have refrained from lying. I want to call it that. Sort of trying to gloss over the issue at first.
Yeah,
But
something like these things that we have dealt with, like this has been a central part of us before we were able to express it. So it's not that we lied to the world, it's that we didn't know what this meant for us. And so I have heard of people experiencing a lot of pushback from significant others and family, but so far with Snarky, she's been absolutely wonderful. And
thank you, Snarky.
Yes, I mean we had some deep conversations, because the whole thing that I would say is I am non-binary, gender fluid, pan-romantic, gynophilic.
Gotcha.
So to go through that, I've already explained non-binary, gender fluid.
Right.
Pan-romantic means I can feel deep, strong, romantic feelings towards anyone, regardless of gender or expression.
Fine.
So if you know the feelings that you get when you're falling for someone.
Yeah, I know those feelings. Shut up, Clarion.
Those would be the romantic feelings that I can have regardless of gender or expression. But when it comes to sex, I am gynophilic, which means my sexual preference is someone with a vagina.
Yeah. And I love that set of terms where you have androphilic and gynophilic. It takes the source gender out of the conversation, which to me is a good thing.
Yes. Oh yeah. And so people will say, well, how do you know that you're gynophilic? Well, because of a very awkward experience in my early 20s when I was encouraged to try being bi, which if someone ever encourages you to try something sexually, don't do it if you don't actually feel it.
Okay.
Because I could have romantic feelings. I could make out with someone who is masculine or has a penis, but once the penis comes out, that there's nothing. No, that just does nothing for me. So it's all about preference.
Now, there's an interesting thing that just came to mind as you said this, if you don't mind my asking. The whole panromantic thing, let's say this is involving a pre-op trans woman. How's that work?
So that's something that I've never experienced. So I can't 100% say that it would be a no. I just know from past experience that I am gynophilic, but I've always said, you don't know until you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I am married to a cisgendered woman, so I don't see that that's going to happen.
Oh, right. I'm just speaking hypothetically.
But yeah, just hypothetically, I've never been faced with that situation, so I can't say one way or the other how it would go.
Yeah, I'd really like to have a general poll taken or something like that, and see what percentage goes for it, what percentage does not go for it. I'm one of those who is attracted to women, but the woman might have a penis, and that's fine.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you're attracted to women, what are you actually attracted to? You're attracted to expressions that seem womanly to you.
Bingo.
So you're attracted to the way that the woman moves, or the way that the woman smells, or the way that they look. You are not necessarily attracted to their genitals,
Right.
because you don't tend to see those the moment you meet someone.
Yeah, that's usually undercover.
At least not in the social situations that I've been a part of most of my life. You don't tend to shake genitals. So
that would be interesting. Were that a social custom?
Oh yeah, that would be very like bonobos. That's that. Like I've always, if humans were more like bonobos, that would make parties a whole lot more awkward for socially awkward people.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Absolutely. And that's the other fun one with the bonobos. They're largely bisexual. There are people who say that the bisexual person has twice the chance of getting a date on Friday night. And I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, were I bisexual, I'd have twice the chance of getting turned down, damn it.
Oh man, but okay, so there's still a major stigma in the US about what's gay and what's not gay. So
yeah.
If you identify as a man and are sexually attracted to women, regardless of what that woman has biologically in their pants, you're not gay.
Right. I'm glad somebody gets it.
You're making your decisions based on expression. You're making your decisions based on how that person makes you feel. That it's like there are so many gender and sexual norms and mores and things that we have in our society that are really just not really all that useful and are kind of harmful.
Yeah.
Because they're, well, not just kind of harmful, very harmful, because we still have states in the US that if you sleep with someone and realize that they have a penis, you can kill them.
Yeah, that's not my idea of a good time.
No.
That whole, what do they call it? The surprise defense, or the...
I can't remember the exact name of the defense, but I think it's surprise something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically you can have sex with someone who is trans and then kill them and get away with it. And it's disgusting.
I mean, absolutely and indeed. There are a lot of things I'd like to see change, but unfortunately, it's going to have to wait a little while again. I admit it. I got so complacent in the years prior to the 2016 election, say those 8 years prior especially, where things are going great for us finally. Things are looking good, and then we get the recognition of same-sex marriage, and hey, this is perfect. Next thing is people like me, and then all of a sudden we have the current administration in office, and you're going back 75 years.
Yeah.
And it's yeah.
And I've been so annoyed with people who during the 2016 election were like, it's not going to get that bad. He's not actually going to do this. He's not actually going to push for removing transgender people from the military. He's not actually going to push for anti-LGBTQ laws. And yet he has actually done this.
Yes.
Throughout his term. So people who were saying, this is bullshit, this guy is going to try and wreck this nation.
He's doing a damn good job of it.
Like, people are not actively going, you know what? I'm sorry, I was completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a lot of people going, oh, this is the U.S. He's not actually going to have that much power. And yet he's actively shown that he's a fucking douche. That's Trump is a douche.
Yes. Oh, interesting, Kate. Have you ever noticed that if someone is made uncomfortable by a biologically male person, be they trans or gay, they always get called a dude? Not man, not male, always a dude. What's that about?
It's used in a pejorative fashion, and it's used in a way because dude itself can be gender neutral.
Okay.
Dude,
I'll take your word for it.
They can be used in a gender neutral way depending on where you're from. All of my friends were guys and dudes growing up. But they use it that way so that then when the person says, hey, fuck you, I wasn't saying anything offensive. I call everyone dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah, I'm just doing a little typing here because we're starting to head toward the top of the hour. So, first of all, do you have any objection to sticking around for a little while after this is over? Or are you extremely busy? I know.
Unfortunately, I can't. I have to head off. I have some yard work I have to get done today that's really kind of pressing.
Okay, what is the city after you? It's like, cut your lawn or we're going to find you.
They will be very soon. Like, we have had a lot of rain and we've had a lot of sun. And those two things equate to a lawn that has grown very fast, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But I have that, and then I have some recording I have to do. So unfortunately, I can't do an after show.
Well, that's okay. As this is why I'm asking, and I'm not assuming as far as that goes. So, also, would you kindly tell the wonderful people out there what you are up to next?
What am I up? I'm going to take over the world.
Oh boy!
No. So I have my Tuesday shows, which this coming Tuesday I have Cosmic Cupcake coming on to talk about secular parenting. Okay, so that'll be fun.
I'm trying to remember because I know that some of the channel names and Twitter names are different. I'm trying to remember who Cosmic Cupcake is.
Cupcake Chaos on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So Cupcake Chaos is coming on Tuesday. Then I have my Friday shows, which is On Our Last Nerve. This next Friday is the last Friday of the month, which is going to be all comedy articles, all funny things that we're going to discuss. And then hopefully the next coming Tuesday, I'm going to have Essence of Thought on to discuss some of the things that they've been going through over the last couple of weeks.
Oh boy.
And should be a lot of fun. But as far as original programming, the OS is coming, and the OS does not stand for objectively subjective. The OS is going to be my original programming on my new channel, Objectively Subjective, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to try to make it very artistic and as cool as possible.
Oh my. Okay, so you're actually going to need a sweater on that one.
No sweater. No sweaters.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Me in a sweater is me sweating. It would just be pouring off of me.
Oh my. Is there anything else you want to throw in on this? Any loose ends to tie up or anything?
Not really. I don't know. Like,
because I don't want to feel like I don't want you to feel like I'm shooing you out the door or anything like that.
No, we've covered a lot. As far as the On Our Last Nerve, which is Fridays, my co-hosts are Mrs. Snarky, #Heathen, and Faithless Southerner, and they're all great channels.
And they're great people, all definitely.
Yes. Other than that, I don't know. Like I've lost I've lost all ability to think.
Okay, I know how that works. Let me tell you, because well, my brain has been addled for quite a while as far as that
Oh,
goes. Yes, yes, dear.
people have questioned the name objectively subjective.
Oh, and I was thinking of yeah. Let's go into that and see what happens.
And okay, the name objectively subjective is based on the phenomenon of which everyone is objective about the things they want to be objective on and subjective about the things that they want to be subjective on. So, if you want to be objective about science, but then when a topic like trans women in sports come on, you want to be subjective, that's just it's what you're doing. You're being objectively subjective in what you choose to go with the science on. Um, so
Got
that's where
you.
the name came about, was objectively subjective. It's what we all are, and we should strive to be less objectively subjective.
Okay, I'm liking that because yeah, you started out with the well, you started out with the atheist stuff. You went to the philosophy, and yeah, I guess is that more or less where that started to come from, or
Yes, objectively subjective comes more along the lines of philosophy, and just thinking about the thoughts that we have, and questioning them ourselves.
okay, got you on that one. Um, okay, yeah, we're just setting up some stuff here, and if anybody over on the side does want a after show, anyway, just let me know. Like scream over in the side chat, and we can arrange it. And yeah, we're at the top of the hour at this point, and God, I'm going to thank you many extremely much because yeah, I know we got into the trans conversation here, but yeah, I really didn't know what we were going to be talking about
Oh no,
until we started talking.
thank you for having me on. It's always fun talking to you.
And that's the darn thing is I don't get enough chance to talk to you because you're so damn busy. It's the amazing thing. We started kind of at the same time. Well, you started a couple months before I did, but you took off like a rocket, and I am amazed that you could actually keep that stamina going.
Oh, well, I mean, on my new channel, I've kind of slowed down a bit. I'm not producing as much original content. I'm cutting down the larger shows into segments and releasing those. But then my original content is going to be like once or twice a month, because, yeah, I kind of overdid it for a while there.
Yeah, I was really wondering when is this person going to burn out?
Oh, yeah, like close to 500 videos in 1 year. That was a little much. That was a little much.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near your 500 videos. No.
It was, yeah, it was, it got a little bit, a little bit over my head. So with the reset, I decided that I was going to slow down and produce things a little bit slower. So
Okay, well, hopefully that will be a good thing for you, and you can get the good commentary and stuff and things. And God, I'm sounding like Cy. Um, and keep that good stuff coming because you are one of the premier content creators of this. Do you want to call it class, generation, whatever?
well, thank you.
Um,
Yeah, I guess that's a compliment I didn't expect. I am the premier.
yeah, it's
Bow down to your premier.
absolutely because pretty much everybody knows who you are, and
Yeah,
we're gonna have to talk one day or another about what that feels like. But that's just a reason to bring you back. That's all.
yeah, definitely. I'll definitely come back.
And okay, then, as far as that goes, I'm thanking you many, 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 many much for deigning to come on and for your good input and everything. And okay, as far as I'm always shit at ending these things. So to everybody, I have the after show link to watch on the side chat. I don't know if you saw it. Go up there. I'll throw a couple names out and a couple join links out and see if we can get started there. And thanks a lot, troops.
Yes.
See you on the other side.
Bye-bye.